UnTrending truth about.
Hi, everybody. This is, I am High Vibe Angie, and this is UnTrending Truth's sixth episode with
Carolyn Parker.
Carolyn Parker, telling her story. She'll let you know why she's here. She'll also give her disclaimer. But like I said, this is our sixth show. We are very, very excited. And today we're going to do something different, and Karen will tell you, but we'll do something a little different where she will read.
Yes, basically read.
Yeah,
I don't miss nothing.
Yeah, exactly. So she'll read so she won't miss anything from her story. And like I said, she'll give her disclaimer and tell us why we are here.
We are here once again. I'm giving my testimony of how I was delivered from homosexuality, and I'm sharing this in hopes that someone will be able to hear this, and it also will change their life.
Right. And even speak about why or the different format that we'll be doing today as far as you reading. Well, you already said you didn't want to miss anything.
The different format for me, yeah, I don't want to miss anything, and I felt like just writing everything down, so it just will tell more of everything, on paper, but it's just like me just, sharing it like it is. And it's just me reading it.
Right. Okay. And also the glasses, we know there's a reflection in her glasses, but she needs to read.
But I apologize. But I can't see that good without it.
I'm gonna say sorry, but not really. Exactly. You need them.
But yeah. I can see better with them when I read. How's that?
That's it. So, that is just it. Anyway, and those are your dad's. Our dad's glasses, and this is our dad's hat. So I don't know how that happened, but we're both representing our dad tonight. Okay. Yes. All right. Well, you can pretty much go ahead. We can start with the word of prayer.
Yes.
Real quick, before you open up. But yeah, and that's it. So, Lord, we just thank you for tonight. We thank you for the opportunity once again to come together and to hear Karen's story and to hear the information that she has to share in order to continuously heal herself and allow us that hear her words to heal and to not be ashamed or to gain an understanding or whatever it is that you have in store and the purpose for everything being shared and on this platform tonight. So we thank you and we praise you and we lift you up and we just ask that you are with Karen as she shares. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
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 And I also want to share my disclaimer that this is my story. There is no right or wrong way to tell it. I just want to tell it like it is. Yeah. And that's what I plan to do.
Yeah. All right. I'm down. I'm ready.
Okay. So, do you have a recap, Angie, that you want to share?
From the last show?
Yeah, just for the last show.
As far as you it's been so much, honestly. But the last part was were you were married again? Your second marriage? No. Were you?
I was married in my first marriage. Came back to Portland with my daughter, working. Found a house, with my first husband. So basically, we were living. It was, like you said, it was so much. But by the time that we ended, it was me going what? I'm trying to remember exactly how it went. Mm-hmm. But it led up to 1984, basically where we were, because I'm just going to go ahead and read where I am now, and then the questions, of course, will come Um, 1984, my daughter was born, and we lived at 5145 Northeast Killingsworth. Some of these addresses will ring a bell to some people that live in Portland. Um, and then 3 years later, my son was born, which was 1987. We lived at 51st and Killingsworth for 8 years. Then we moved to 18th and 1820 Northeast Buffalo, where I continued to run my child care, which was called Karen's Kids. This was 1992. So from 1984 through 1992, I was still involved with the young lady that we talked about earlier. And of course, I can't say names.
Mm-mm.
And I also was involved with a young man at the same time.
Mm.
So I remember going out on a few dates, and this was like in the year of 1993. I talked to my children. At that point, we even thought about, well, I thought about doing foster care. So letting them know what foster care was all about. They didn't understand it, so I explained it to them. My children at this time was 11. My daughter was 8, and my other son was 5. Um, of course, they were wondering, like I said, what was foster care, and I explained it to them. So we all basically gave it a try. I really wanted, I really did foster care because I wanted to get a boy for my son because just so he can have somebody to play with. The first child that I took in, she was 9 years old and she was a girl. And then months later, I took in a brother and a sister. That seemed to work out for a while, but one thing that we don't really account for that foster children, they do come with a lot of personal issues, which started to cause conflict with my own children. We managed to work through it, but it was a trying time back then. And but the good thing about it, everybody was in the same school district, so I was able to have everybody go to the same school. At this point, I was a single mom with 6 children, and it was working out for a while. Basically, I still was working full time, and I had to juggle childcare. And unfortunately, trying to find a good childcare for 6 children is sort of difficult, if you can imagine. It was 3 of my own children that I paid out of pocket for myself, and then of course I had the other 3 foster children that the state paid for them. So somebody was making some good money, but the care was just horrible.
Mm.
Um, so at this time, I'm sorry, trying to find my spot because sometimes it's hard to keep up. But for the reason why I did foster care and I thought about it and I did childcare on the same note is I did it because I wanted to protect my children for a long time. That's why I did it because trying to find child care was really hard. So that's why I continued to do daycare as long as I did. So the brother and sister they went back after like a year. I had them. They went back with family, and then the other foster daughter that I had that was 9 at the time. We kept her for what until 1994. So going back to the last day of summer, it was coming to an end. August was the last weekend, and myself and some friends we decided that we wanted to go like downtown and go out to a club. Some people might even remember the name of the club called the Red Sea back in the day. And on our way at the light on MLK and Broadway, we all looked over to our left and see this. Well, I guess maybe I thought brother with dimples
Mm.
riding by himself. I rolled down my window and asked him where was he going. He said that he wasn't going anywhere. So I told him to follow us, I should say. So I got to the club, and he had and we hit it off pretty, pretty well. And something else I thought about as I was going there to the club, we actually was meeting somebody else there. I had sort of been dating someone else. Going to the club, the guy that I was there, actually, I was supposed to be meeting him. We sort of ended our, I guess you say, our dating that night because I told him that the person that you see over there, which I pointed out the other person, I said, well, that person is who I'm here with tonight. And so what we had, basically, it would be over. And he sort of looked at me and was like, what? And the other person that I was with, I introduced them to each other, if you can believe that.
Mm.
So they met, and that was the end of that. And I ended up hitting it off with the other person. Uh, so we left the club, and then we started hanging out a lot. It seemed like every night, to be honest, I was visiting at his place. And see, this was the ending of August. So this was the ending of August. By November 1994, I was pregnant. If you
So you mean so just pretty much right after you met him?
Exactly, if you think about it, because it was the ending of August of 1994, and by November, August, September, was that 2 months later?
Mm.
I was pregnant. And how can you be surprised by something like that? Because if you have unprotected sex, then of course you know what the results can be.
Mm.
So, in a nutshell, that's what happened. And I was not ready to hear this news, though I was not looking forward to telling my children
Mm. Yeah.
this news. And I remember not telling him the news right away because I was contemplating an abortion.
Mm.
And I already knew that talking to him, he wouldn't he would be totally against that. And he already let me know that he always wanted children. And I remember getting upset because I really believe at that time, he got me pregnant on purpose because, he wanted kids so bad. So I remember getting mad. Like, why would he do this? So that's not the rule. That's not the reason why I would or did contemplate an abortion at the time. I just felt like
You already had three
I
kids.
had enough children
Exactly.
and I didn't want to, I'm sorry.
I said you
Yeah,
already
I
had three
didn't want to
kids.
start over. So I contemplate, yes, I already had, yes, the ages was 11, 8, and 5 already.
Mm.
So, and don't forget, I was had 3 foster kids at some point. So I didn't really want to start over. So I still was contemplating for about a month or so about, having an abortion. So I finally told a friend and I told him that I was pregnant. And I knew by telling the both of them there was no way I could have an abortion because both of them was totally against it. So that was sort of like a safe place for me to tell somebody, you know, and I knew by telling them that it wouldn't abortion wouldn't happen.
Mm.
So finally I told my kids, and by this time they haven't even met him because of his record, he couldn't be around kids.
Mm.
And he had disclosed to me his past when we became serious with one another. And then the thought that went in my mind is like the things that we as adults we settle for, you know.
Mm.
I I still worked full time, and this was February like 1995. He moved in with us August 26, 1995. Our daughter was born, and April 6, 1996, we were married. We still stayed in the apartment for 3 more years. And in 1999, we bought a home. Things were going pretty good. He made good he had a good job. He was making around $23 an hour. I was a head teacher. I was making about $16 an hour. And the children, like I said, they were going to neighborhood schools. And if you were looking on the outside in, you would probably think that this family got it going on.
Mm.
But everything that glitters isn't gold. And I found that out.
Mhm.
What I didn't mention, when I was pregnant with our daughter, he had relapsed on drugs.
Mhm.
And the drug of his choice was crack.
Mhm. Now, did you know that
And
you
that
were
was the
dating him?
beginning of craziness. This was like, did I date him?
Did you know that he was
I'm
doing
sorry.
crack? Did you know he was doing crack or whatever when you were dating him?
Yeah, he actually, no, I can't say. It's funny that you say that, but no, it wasn't one of the things he's disclosed to me.
Mm.
But the major thing that he disclosed to me was like it took a president over everything.
Mm.
So when you say did he disclose that, that was sort of like minimal,
Mhm.
and it never really came out to that degree.
Mhm.
So no, I did not know
Mhm.
that. Would it have made a difference at that time? Probably not.
It wouldn't
Because like because what we settle for, because sometimes we think we want something or somebody, and we just
compromise.
put on hold what. Oh, compromise would be the best word, and and that's what I did. So if you ask me, would I have changed my mind
No,
at that moment? No.
no, it wouldn't have.
So that was 1994, and the lies and the deceit had already started. He was just able to disguise it so well.
Mhm.
But the beginning for me was good. I remember he used to pick me up from work. He used to have my car washed. He was to pick up my favorite suit. And this type of royal treatment like went on for at least 5 years, like 1994 to 1999. Like I said before, we had bought a home. We both, like I said, was working some pretty good jobs. Um, if I didn't mention before, I was a teacher and he was a roofer. We made what started was, oh, so what happened, he started to stay out later and later, and it was getting off from work. And when he would come home, I noticed that he would seem drunk, but he would be more like paranoid.
Mhm.
But I didn't think much of it because at the time he would always tell me, oh, I only had like a couple of beers. So then I would always just, oh, okay. But then I would always tell him, I said, but you know what? The beer that you drink when you're going out, it just makes you a lot like extra crazy. Um, and this started to happen like too often. As it continued to work, and I started pleading with him to just spend time with me and the kids, and you know that fell on deaf ears because that really really never happened. So about 2001, I just really got fed up with it, honestly. And like sometimes you get sick of something, and then what happens? Then you start actually doing your own thing. So I started to go out, and the person that I went out with was, well, she was gay, but she was my friend, and we never did anything, and it was never a thought. So when I started to start going out to the gay bars with her, I pretty much just like hanging out and the gay clubs because honestly, they were fun. And I have to say, I felt pretty comfortable. And I have to admit, I started to go out to the gay bars a lot. So one night being there, I met someone. Another other than my experience when I was 19 until now, and I was 37 years old, I know everything was different. And this person approached me. So we hit it off really fast, and we hung out quite a few times after that. I really have to admit that I started to neglect my family. It seemed like I was out every night.
Mhm.
That part just makes me sad because when reflect. And something you mentioned, Angie, was the healing that you get from this,
Mm-hmm.
that it brings healing to you,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to relive some of the stuff that you
Mm-hmm.
went through. It really brings you to tears.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was just writing this, that's what it started doing for me,
Mm-hmm.
because the neglect, like I said, in my family, it seemed like I was going over. I was out every night. This person would cook for me almost every day. I would go to her house after I got off work. And the wild thing was, and the crazy wild thing was that I lived right, well, she lived right around the corner from the club that I used to always go to. So you can imagine how often I went to the club. And then not only that, I even worked in Southeast Portland. So that made it easier because it was right there in the same area. So the more, and I was just telling you, the more I write, the more it shows me how if you take off a little bite, you really don't realize how much you might bite off.
Meaning what?
Just to show you, well, meaning that if you, it's like sin, it's like a little bit of sin. You look around and you don't realize how much sin you really got into. Like it says in the Bible, a little bit of leaven's a whole loaf. So
Yeah.
it's just like you just don't realize it. You think like, oh, I'm just gonna eat a little bit of this, and then by the time you bite a little bit, you look up and you ate the whole thing, like whatever it was.
Yeah.
So you just,
It also says in the Bible about bad company corrupting your character.
huh. And I would say yes, it does. And just to give you a little taste of what I mean about 2001, I was still married, but I met this woman when I went to that club, and then I also was crazy over another woman. And I think that was a little bit of obsession. Around 2002, my friend and I and her sister-in-law, we decided to take the youngest of our, well, like my daughter, and two of her friends' kids to Disneyland. And then while we were on this trip is when I started having feelings for my friend's sister-in-law. So you can see what type of triangle this is creating if you really start thinking about it. But I kept it under wraps. While on the trip, I stayed in contact with the one young lady, and I can't say names, of course, but actually there were two. So I just said the two young ladies. I stayed in contact with them. And the trip was fun. It was a great experience for the children and I. And also, while we were in Disneyland we was there for over a week. 2002 was a lot of going back and forth. It was like I was with my husband, two different women, and I want to forget, I really started to like the one, which was called the sister-in-law. So if you do the math, what's that? Four people at once?
Yeah.
I still was going out so much that my children and my husband was trying to throw me a surprise birthday party. And they ended up having to tell me because they wanted to make sure that I would be home for my own birthday party. So
Mm.
they had to spoil my surprise and tell me because I was that's how much I was going out,
Mm.
you know. And that was like wow.
Mm.
And that was the big event that the next few years, my husband and I separated. He really relapsed for real, and that was the beginning of falling for me, falling deep in sin. These were the major chain of events in my life in 2002, leading to 2003. I was like 38 and a half, and like so, like I said before, separation from my husband. I was number two. I was demoted at my job. I was a head teacher, and I was demoted to a teacher's assistant. That's a whole nother story. We would have to get into that. That's another book for y'all. So um, I was going through court with my job. I was contemplating selling my house so it wouldn't go into foreclosure. My granddaughter that we helped raise since she was born, her mom and her stepfather, they came to take her. Um, and the person that I really wish that was there to comfort me was out of town at the time. So that was like all that stuff. I was going through it by myself. I felt lost. And oh, I'm sorry. And did I mention the bonus of all this? My husband, he tricked me into refinancing our home, and he took out a $27,000 loan. He came by, had me sign the check, and he had me follow him to the bank. He got to the bank, he went inside the bank, and he told me that they wouldn't take the check at the time. So I proceeded to leave. And of course, the check was already signed by me. So I don't know if in turn he went back after the fact,
Mm.
but what happened was um, he went to cash the check, and all I know, I didn't hear or see from him for 2 months
Mm.
straight. When I did hear from him again, he came and asked me, did I have some money?
Mm.
And I was jokingly like what? Because this was like 2 months later. You have what, $27,000, and you coming back asking me for money. And the reason I know this because it was close to my 39th birthday, so I joked about.
Excuse
I thought you was gonna be buying me a present,
me. Mm.
you know. But no, he seriously came and asked me for some money. So the sad thing about it, if you can imagine, $27,000 being spent in 2 months.
But he was on drugs. He was on crack, right?
He
So he
was, and it
knew
was
very well
addiction
for 2 months.
for 2 months. Oh yeah, 2 months.
Yeah.
So that just shows me that addictions come in all, it is more than one. Just yeah, that I don't even know how to put that into words when you actually see that.
Mm.
But and that yeah, and that just always blows me away when I think about that.
Yeah.
$27,000.
But
But
people do way more than that. People do that in a day. It took them 2 months. Some
I
people have
know,
it to do in a day.
and
So,
that's yeah,
because
a
you can
day.
smoke crack all
I
day,
see
right?
2 months. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know anything outside of marijuana. I don't know about.
Mar-
You know
me.
what I'm saying?
Well, no,
Like,
that's true.
honestly, I don't know
Me
about.
either.
Yeah, I'm way too scared, and I don't know, but I think crack goes away so fast that, excuse me, you can just pretty much probably smoke it all day, and then you rich, so you sharing and buying
Mhm.
whatever for everybody. You rich.
Exactly. Right.
And we all
Uh,
know that's not true, but
thank you, Rich.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, rich enough.
but yeah. I mean, if you it's money that you didn't have, and you get it in a lump sum. It's like wow,
Yeah.
unfortunate. But yeah, so that was like the beginning of 2002 up to 2003, and beginning of 2003. This is when I know for a true fact that I start falling hard for the sister-in-law.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And all the stuff I was going through and all the stuff that she was going through, we started to confide in each other. So, and anybody knows about confiding in each other, when you put down your guards and you are going through something, you
Mm.
are vulnerable. And the vulnerable, how you say it sort of sneaks up on you if
Mm.
you're not aware, if you don't even think about it.
Mm.
So when you start confiding in a male or a female, you got to be real careful.
Mm.
It leaves you open. So we did start confiding in each other, and at this time, she was sort of in I call it a relationship. If
Mm.
you wonder what a relationship is, she was in a relationship with another female, but it's like a relationship in my terms that I made up. I believe I did. it's like when you at some point was in a sexual relationship or just a real intimate relationship with somebody else that was a female, but then it just turns into a friendship.
Mhm.
So that's what she was in my thinking at the time. Um, but we started to spend a whole lot of time together. I went to her place and she would come to my place. For the most part, all we did was talk because we both were going through so much that on for that. I mean, I couldn't even imagine even trying to be in a relationship at the time, but we were just going through so much that we continued to go to her place. She went to my place. She would do dinner for me all the time. And then at my youngest, um, by this time, she would be the only one that I would take with me to her place, especially if we end up spending the night over there at her place. So I would just take my youngest with me. But still, up to this point, it was totally platonic. There was nothing that went on like that. So from April until September, we continued to talk, spend a lot of time together. But by October the 21st of 20, I'm sorry, yeah, 2003, I should say, in my own way, I asked her to be with me. And oh, yeah, I almost forgot I was still married. And I think about that. It's like, I have my nerve, you know? You don't even think about stuff. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I mean,
I,
especially now that you're reflecting and actually talking about stuff and talking about it in chronological order, it's like, yeah, it's a little bit complicated.
really complicated.
Mhm.
Really complicated. Because 2003, some major events that took place even in there was leading up to 2004 was like, my husband and he was totally out of the house by this time. And you know, I know that because I made sure of it because I changed the locks.
Mm,
And so I'm sure he wasn't coming back.
mm,
Um, it was my middle daughter, she moved back in with me. She came back to help me out with bills and the babies. I say babies because my granddaughter at some point was there and my youngest daughter, of course. And then I was still working a full-time job. And then I took on another job that had me working Saturday and Sunday. So therefore, there was no break because I just worked straight through. And I would never, ever want to do that again. Working two jobs, oh my gosh,
mm,
even if it's a Saturday and Sunday, it's just still full time regardless, you know.
yeah.
And the one thing that was so hard for me, the one thing it was really hard was for me because I know for a fact my granddaughter, although she was young, she needed me and I needed her. And that's when, you know, of course, mom and her stepfather came to take her and she was with us since she was a baby. So, you know,
Mm,
but that was one of the hardest things for me, the hardest time for me. I mean, I cried so hard. I cried. I even cried when I was writing this
mm,
because it brought me back to that
mm,
time when she left and it just brought me back. So yeah, I shared tears and knowing that I wasn't there for my children at the time, I and you know, it just made me reflect
mhm,
on when we're out there and the word with some people would be wilding out
mhm.
and you don't even really realize it and you just neglect people that you love and it's unintentional but you just self-absorbed
Yeah,
within yourself
yeah.
and yeah and I just when I just like I said reflecting on writing this it just brought some of that out that man the things that you don't think to call it when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Like of course, sin is sin. I
Mm,
don't care how you slice it up.
right.
But like I didn't realize that I was in such a love triangle.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Which
know,
really was no love. It was lust. It was hurt. It was pain. It was everything but
yes,
love. You were searching for love, but
exactly.
you were involved in everything but love. because you could have loved yourself, loved your children, showed your children, you know what I'm saying? Like if that's love, but you were just in search of love, and it brought you how you went about
In
it.
search of
Yeah,
love.
yeah. How you went about it was unloving, but like you say, you just didn't know. You didn't know.
Yeah, and you broke up really good. I didn't hear a lot of what you said,
Mm-hmm.
so I got the last part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know.
Mm-mm.
It's hard to know something that you don't feel inside.
Mm-hmm.
The best description that I gave myself when I was going through all this stuff was I really, at the time, I felt like my mind was like frozen. Imagine you feel like your mind was frozen and you was like just walking and just feel like you were just existing.
Mm.
You just feel like a
Yeah.
just existing because it's just that's how how bad it got for me. And then we talked about it before that we didn't really put names on it because I really didn't put names on stuff because I didn't know. But like, let's say bisexual, you're in a relationship with a man and a woman, same type of thing. You don't even think about it, you just do it. So
Mm.
that's was I was going through the same that too.
Mm.
Um, but like I mentioned, I I had asked the sister-in-law. That's the name I gave her because of course I can't use names. But I had asked the sister-in-law um, to, I guess you would say, to be my girlfriend, which would had made it officially October the 21st, and that was 2017.
Mm.
I'm sorry, 2003 to be
Mm.
exact. I was thinking about 2017, and that's wow, so many different years. But yeah, so October 21st, 2003, I officially asked her to be my girlfriend, which really shocked me, I think,
Mm.
when I think about it.
Right.
But it's
Well,
just one of
you
those.
just become. It sounds like you just were becoming more and more bold in your sin too.
Oh man, that's the same thing. You bite off a little bit, and you don't even realize how much you have bitten off until you turn around and you're just dead in it. And sometimes you feel like you're so far in it, then I might as well just keep going,
Mm.
which is very dangerous. Which is very dangerous.
Yeah.
But you don't really think about it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was very bold in my sin.
Mm.
Yeah, because to end up to ask somebody to be your girlfriend, and she said yes, and it's almost like, oh man, what do I do now? It's like, oh,
Okay.
it's like you don't expect somebody to say yeah.
That's a shame.
so
That's
so
a
we
shame.
start hanging out every day. What'd you say?
I said that's a shame.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't expect that. You ask somebody something, but you don't expect them to say yes, so you just ask, and
Wow.
they say yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? So
You even. I mean, your intentions. You there was even no purpose or intentions behind how that particular relationship started outside of you just liked her.
less,
Mm.
less, yeah. So yeah, so that started. Like I said, we started hanging out like every day. Um, so by now, I had sold my house. I ended up living with my middle daughter, myself and my youngest daughter, because we sold our house and we were contemplating at the time living in Atlanta,
Mm.
you
Mm.
know, and we didn't do that, but we decided to stay with my middle daughter. So we did that for a while. And then I'll put it like this. I'll just say 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010,
Mm.
2011,
Mm.
2012, 2013, 2014,
Mm.
2015,
Mm.
2016 up until October 19, 2017, 2 days shy of my girlfriend and I being together for 14 years, God spoke to me.
So how
And I
many
was
years was that?
55,
How many?
all those years.
Yeah, how many years was that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12,
Over a decade.
13.
I don't know. And it goes by fast, but then when you think about it, it's like
Being in
that's
that
13 years.
lifestyle.
Wow. No, I was just saying it goes by fast.
So from age 19,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, that's why
yeah.
I put it like that to show you how fast, instead of saying and breaking up every single solitary event in those years,
Yeah.
all those years were with I was with her.
Mm.
So imagine being with somebody for, like you said, a decade plus or whatever,
Boy.
and just seeing how fast those years go by. So if you're living in a sinful lifestyle and you're not really looking at it in events and you're looking at it in years,
Yeah.
that's a lot of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot of years.
Yeah.
And like I said, 2 days shy of being together for 14 years, and I was 55 years old, and that's when the Lord spoke to me, like we're talking.
Mm.
He
And
asked me,
said,
say that part again.
and said,
And he said to me, he said, either you're going to keep doing what you're doing and you're going to have to make a decision. And what is that decision going to be?
hmm,
And literally, you have to look at it like this. You got this over here, and he's saying this. You're going to keep doing this over here,
mm-hmm,
or you're going to come over here.
mm-hmm,
And literally, I felt that so great where I was with her at the time. Matter of fact, I was living with her. It was almost a year. And I was getting ready for work. And she was sitting over on her bed. And when God said that to me, everything that I thought about being with this person and all the things we have been through, was going through, the ups, the downs, whatever, I looked over at her and just said, I can't do this anymore.
mm,
Because at that moment, I felt such a yearning in my heart that no matter what I was feeling for her for that moment before that,
yeah.
it's like everything else just like, I can't do this anymore.
God spoke to you clearly.
She spoke to me so clear
Mm,
that if I had, like I had told her, if I choose you, that means I'm turning my back on God.
right. And you have to have a conviction
Literally,
or understanding enough of that type of decision because all that time, if God wasn't speaking to you and you were just, wilding out in your sin and even doing more sin because you might as well because you already sinning, but obviously there was no voice or no, you know what I'm saying, no real clear word from God to you.
clear.
Yeah.
Right. It's at that moment because, like I said, sometimes we're doing so much that God is talking to us, but we literally just do this.
Yeah. I can't hear him.
We
Yeah.
deflect Him in every way.
Yeah.
So when He gets, and I thank God, I think about it because I was doing so much for that moment. I just felt myself like, I can't do this anymore.
Mm,
And when I heard God give me that, it's like that choice. We have free will. So
mm-hmm.
he gave me that choice. I could have been like, oh, whatever, God, and just kept going. I felt like, oh my gosh, I'm taking this choice of turning my back totally on God for a lustful feeling of the flesh
Mm,
that feels good for that moment,
yeah.
but after that, then what?
Exactly. Exactly.
So that was the moment at that 2 days shy of us being together for 14 years. I said, Lord, I I give my life back to you.
Mm,
I am coming back to you because I don't want to take that chance of not knowing what the repercussions can be if I don't.
right.
And that was a day that the Lord delivered me from that moment of homosexuality. It
Mm,
was an instant release in my heart and spirit. That was the day that I was living with her for almost a year, and that was the day that I moved out of her place.
mm. Really?
And God, yes, you said, yeah,
Wow.
that day,
Wow.
God had already been, or yeah, it's amazing how God was already orchestrating things behind. Already had somewhere to go where I couldn't say, well, I don't have nowhere to go. Well, he had
Mm.
already orchestrated for me to have an apartment
A way
setting up,
out.
a way out. God gives you a way out if you're
Yeah.
willing to take it.
Yeah. He gives you a way to flee.
So, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And every avenue that he was giving me to get a way out, he had already orchestrated a way out of it.
Mm,
So I look back right now and think about it, and it's like, you know what, Lord?
mm.
Deliverance comes to people in such a different way. He can do it instantly. He can do it,
Yeah.
it can take time. But for that moment, and he gave me that option, that
Mm,
choice, I
yeah.
took it right away.
Hmm. I wonder why it was so
I
instant for
took it
you.
right away.
I said, I wonder why it was so. Oh, you heard me?
Yeah, I did hear you. It broke up a little bit, but I got it. I That's a good question, but I know that at that moment, I don't even know honestly if I would have had another chance.
Mm,
Not that I can see the future, but at that moment in my heart, it was one of those things that it was like an urgency
mm.
in me to like, you can choose that way if you want to and keep
Right.
doing it.
Right.
So in
Mm,
me, it was like an urgency in my heart. And then what was, like I said, the things that me and her have been going through and just, the ups and the downs, it was just like,
mm.
yeah, but it was an urgency.
Um. Okay. So, are you pretty much done? Like, I can ask questions, or
Yes, you
yeah.
can.
Wow. So, 13 years with her. Some of the questions that I wrote down, I guess I'll kind of go back, or we can just bring it up. But let me see
Yes.
what I wrote. How were you able to not able to afford foster kids? Um, but as far as the foster kids, not even afford money wise, you just pretty much brought those kids into your house so you can have a playmate for your son. So you were in they
Basically,
pay you
that's
for
how
foster
it
kids,
was.
right? Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
So initially, it was initially to have a playmate for my son because my daughters, they had each other, so it didn't really
Yeah,
matter if I did get another girl. But yeah, and then it was like, oh yeah, and they do pay.
yeah,
So yeah, it was sort of like a selfish reason.
yeah,
They pay.
yeah.
Hey, why not?
That's why people get foster kids all the time. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like a extra
Exactly, which
source
is
of
a selfish
income.
reason.
Yeah, it's an extra source of income, but it comes with the kid or kids or
Oh
whatever.
yeah. And
So
like I mentioned, they come with a set of issues that the money doesn't really compensate it to
compensate.
that point. So you really have to start having a love for that, or you're just doing it for the money.
A lot of people just do it for the money. It's an extra stream of income. Yeah, it's just an extra stream of income. The kids come with it, but like you said, if you don't have a heart behind the kids, you can forget about it, and it's
Oh
never enough
gosh,
money.
forget about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I also wrote so with the kids, although I forgot you got paid for foster kids, but as far as with the foster kids and your kids and all that stuff, how did you find time, or you just made time to always be with somebody like in a relationship? You were always in a
Yeah,
relationship.
always,
Wow.
always, always. When I think about it,
What's that about? Or
always.
just never wanting to, or never allowing yourself to be alone? Or what do you have you visited what that was about?
You know what? I have. I've never. I always thought that I was the type of person that I didn't have to have anybody to be in my life to help me with find or anything to that to that degree because I've always felt like I can do it myself. But it's just like always there was always somebody there, and it was almost like like the devil sees that playground,
Yeah,
that opportunity, he'll put it in your way
yeah.
because I really didn't see myself going out to look for people. They
Hmm.
always sort of came to me.
Hmm.
And then, like I said, you put yourself in that situation where it's just like, hey,
Hmm.
but
Whew,
yeah,
Lord.
yeah.
How let's see, how did you find the so I guess even with your kids, with the foster kids or whatever, were you thinking about protecting your kids, or like you just thought, oh great, more kids and you guys go play, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
No, I was the type of a parent that when my kids were outside, I would be outside.
mm,
I didn't just let them rip and run around a block by themselves and think like, oh, they're okay, whatever. No, I maintained trying to be a good mom. I made a lot of mistakes, I no doubt, because I look back and as I talk to you, I
mm-hmm,
see a lot of things that I shoulda, coulda,
mm-hmm,
but I also see a lot of the good things that I did do as a parent.
yeah,
So that goes along with doing childcare and have my own business.
yeah,
Karen's Kids, by the way, was. But
yeah,
I still think I was a good overall mom,
mm-hmm,
and I felt like I did try to protect them
mm-hmm.
and
Now, you
be in their
feel like it was
lives.
a good overall mom all across, or up to a certain age, or just in general, you were a good overall
Mm,
mom. Are you saying like no matter what, there were mom like and good qualities in you, period? Or you know what I'm saying? Like a
yeah,
combo,
I I think
a combination.
uh, a combination for me.
Mm,
It's almost like I'm just giving you sort of hypothetical, but like 0 to 10, and then I did a lapse, and I came back. It was a lot of in and out. But you know what the funny thing about it? I didn't realize it, and I didn't see it like that.
yeah, living it.
When
You just
you
living.
when you have your children, and then you're just living, yeah, and they're always around you at some point,
Mm,
and you don't see when they're not around you,
mm,
and you have accommodated with somebody else and like a grown up,
mm.
but then you always come back and your kids are there and they're around you. Because I always saw myself around my kids at 24/7 when they were younger.
So
I
wait,
didn't
so
really.
oh sorry. I was gonna say, so wait, so when
No,
you
go
were
ahead.
out and just kind of living your life or whatever, who was watching your kids? Did you have
God,
certain babysitters, or was the oldest child watching them,
scary.
or they who?
Yeah,
Oh,
it just makes me go back. It was sort
oh
of
okay.
scary because yes, at some point the oldest one which was not a good decision because she was wilding out herself.
Yeah.
And then you try to bring in somebody else that you think that will help watch them. So I learned that honestly, there's really nobody that I felt totally confident to watch them while I was wilding out.
Mm,
But the thing about when you're doing that, you compensate
yeah.
and you be like you relax and say, oh well, we're just gonna be going out for a little bit. So you let people watch
You'll
your
be
kids.
fine.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, they'll be fine. And you don't even think about it until you
Think
get
about
so
it.
selfish.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow.
And you start thinking about who was watching my kids. Really?
I know. I know. I mean, Yeah, yeah,
Gosh,
yeah. No, like seriously, like yeah. But
man.
one thing I want to say, this is like totally off of the
Yeah.
radar, but the reason why Karen's system or whatever keeps messing up or whatever is because of her new place that she owns now. The Wi-Fi is where it is. The Wi-Fi, the connection is not her fault, not our fault or whatever. So that's why it's choppy, or if you are questioning like the system setup or anything like that, just in case somebody has
Oh,
a
thank
problem
you.
with it.
Yeah, I tried to check into it today and redid it, but
Yeah. No,
yeah,
okay.
sorry.
That was another disclaimer. But yeah, it's well, I mean, really the word that you're using really is selfish. You don't
Oh
think
my
about it.
gosh.
Yeah, you don't think about it. And plus you have to think for yourself all the time and energy you spent not being valuable and worthy and friends and all this stuff. And then here you are, it sounds like you have friends and a
Yeah.
little bit of more confidence. It's not in the right, you know,
God.
it's not right. But it's almost like you just became this person, or you just grew up, but you had kids and you were married
Right.
a couple times,
Right.
like, but you were like
Right.
growing up and finding yourself, but then you had kids and you were married.
Right, exactly. Because of course, like I said, my first daughter at 19, so basically straight out of high school,
Yeah.
boom. So everything that I might have wanted to do, I had to find myself doing it later in life. And selfishly, I had children when I made those decisions.
Mm,
And like I said, when you're in the midst of it, you don't even think it's that bad.
yeah.
You don't think it's that bad. You
Mm,
really don't. And that's yeah.
yeah. I
And
mean,
like I said, that's just a what I wrote is a mere fact of even that was shortened down.
yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
mean, but it's just the good part about like self discovery and personal
Mm,
development is the reflecting, the connecting of the dots and seeing how they
yes,
wow or looking at it like, and then you look at yourself, it's like this is crazy. Like that
gosh,
was me, that was me. And
that was
we're
me.
almost like an outer body experience, living
Just as
life.
remember, I said my mind felt frozen. I was just walking and existing. I
Mm,
just felt like it's like a numb feeling.
yeah.
Gosh,
Yeah. It's yeah, it paused. I just let it pause. But yeah, I mean, I guess you have to be numb. Because now another question is too, like, did
and you're
you
frozen for a while.
oh, okay. Well, I'm talking. Oh, can you hear me? Okay. So
Go
another
ahead.
thing
Yeah.
too is like as far as numbing yourself or whatever, is that how you had to live in order to survive in that lifestyle? Because you did know better.
Oh yes, I definitely did know better. I can never, ever, ever say that I didn't know better. If you remember me saying back when I was 19 and me waking up every day thinking like, oh my God, I got another chance to live this life and feeling like I feel like God allowed me to live again. So I felt like, oh, good. But I lived for the wrong reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew from 19 that yes, it was wrong. That's why I was always conflicted in my heart and spirit. I could never relax and just enjoy that lifestyle. Um, I always knew it was wrong, and if I tried to say it wasn't, then I would be lying.
Yeah.
I always knew it.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that and that is
yeah.
that. I was gonna say, well, some of that stuff we already covered. How'd you start dating people? How'd you have time? Kids? Question mark. How'd you tell your kids you were pregnant?
Well, when if you let one thing I want to say too, if you said with numbing, you had I found myself drinking a lot
Mm,
to numb,
mm,
that the reality of my life.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um, I didn't get it. I didn't do hard drugs,
yeah, yeah,
but marijuana back in the day
yeah,
was a choice of
yeah. Just numbing yourself out. It's breaking up so bad. I mean, not like that, but I'm just saying it is breaking up. So I didn't know. But one,
now it is.
yeah, exactly. It's starting to break up more. But one question,
Now it is at the ending.
yeah. But we'll wrap it up. But also, one question I don't think you heard me was, how did you tell your kids you were pregnant with the last child?
I remember sitting them down and just explaining to them that, well, that when I used to go out and see this one person all the time, and they, of course, they didn't know who he was. They never met him.
Mm.
I just had to explain to them, well, I ended up getting pregnant by this person and
Oh,
trying to just make an 11-year-old, 8-year-old, 5 understand. How do you do that? It's almost like I got pregnant by an invisible person because they never even saw this person.
and what happened?
So
What did they say?
uh, pretty much like, what? How? Uh,
Weird.
Weird. Yeah, they couldn't understand it. Like when, or I think one person actually did say, "Well, when can we meet? When we get to meet this person?" Out of curiosity
Yeah.
of a kid. But imagine coming home and telling your child you're pregnant.
And then how long after that, this invisible person that you're pregnant by, did you actually move him in with your children?
November, I was pregnant. Um, what I say? No, October, November, December, January. 5 months later, basically. I know. I when you
Uh,
I'm telling you, reflection, not get down on yourself and be like,
oh no,
man, I was no, I'm just saying because
that's who you were.
this, yeah, exactly.
Then.
And the past tense of that's who I
That's what I
was.
said. Then I mean that's
you
that.
know,
Yeah.
if you can say who then I was, uh, who are you becoming through Christ?
Yeah. Well, it surely didn't
But
seem like that yet. The Christ. um.
the
I
Christ was far off,
almost want to
boy.
wrap it up because it's breaking up so bad. I want to wrap it up, but also it'll be a
Yeah.
kind of part
Okay.
two. This number six will be seven will just be a continuance, the recap, and just really more questions about this
Yeah.
last session, just from everything that you said. But I don't want to keep breaking up and
Okay.
making people frustrated, but there's nothing that we can do. It happens sometimes in any recording, but
Right.
yours is just, it's a great thing. You have a brand new house that you own now, and yeah,
and
so
and they couldn't
that's
put the Wi-Fi
yeah,
underground,
that'll work.
so
That'll be
they,
that's a good problem.
they're trying to figure it out as we speak. So
Yeah,
everybody,
but I mean
but
that's a cool problem that people have to deal with it. The word is still getting out. Your story is still getting out, and
yeah.
you
And
know.
something, if I could say something, I like what you said in the very beginning of all this,
Mhm.
is that this will bring healing, if not to anybody, but to
Mhm.
myself.
Yeah.
if
That's-
if nothing else, for me it's
Yeah.
like a healing process because it brings you back to where you were,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad thing to revisit where you were when you know where you're going,
No, it's only the
so
right thing.
yes, so that I want to definitely make sure everybody understands this healing is definitely worth it.
Yeah. I mean, how can you, if that's where people go wrong and you can't grow and you really become stunted because you're not willing to revisit and gain an understanding,
Mm,
especially in to something that extreme. because some people, it doesn't matter what it is, you know what I mean? But to any type of dysfunction, neglect, or, even if it's of self, if you don't go back and visit that or whatever, how can you know to change it? How can you desire to change it? How can you not repeat it?
Right.
So for you to get to this point after such a
Mm.
long um, uh, relationship, I'm talking about the lifestyle, that
Mm.
relationship, even,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
just a relationship with infidelity and, just sexual, just immorality,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
A long relationship with it. The questions are, what was that about? What happened? And so I always just call it connecting the dots. When you are able to connect the dots,
Mm.
then you're able to gain an understanding, and then you're able to gain some disbelief in who you were.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And that's where I think I am. Ooh, I did
Oh my
that.
gosh, I know.
Yeah. And for that long, oh, but
So, and even for you, I
by
think,
the grace of God, though.
but for you, I think you've missed, and it's for so many women, period, just how beautiful you were. Like, you had no idea. You are still, but I'm just saying, you just had no idea of just,
Oh, thank you.
yeah. And really, the sad thing is, beauty is just a gift your parents gave you. It's outer stuff. But even when you think about it, it's like you just had no idea.
Mm.
None.
Yeah.
You understand?
That.
Everybody else
Right.
can see.
Yeah.
Everybody else can see your outer beauty. And then that's like the furthest thing from your head, let alone the inner beauty that you were missing. So
Mm.
it's like just living this lifestyle, and it doesn't have to be that lifestyle, but just any type of,
Any type.
yeah, just a
Any.
whirlwind of sin. It's so
Mm.
easy.
Yeah.
Just so easy. Anyway, well, I think we need to wrap it up right here. I'm going to make a line in my questions,
Yes.
so we can pick it back up. But overall, like I said, thank you, for sharing. Thank you always for being so honest and so transparent, and in your reflections, and
Mm.
just even how you want to share your story. But the fact
Yes.
that you are sharing and are just so candid and open about everything is, like I said before, sometimes it's hard to hear, but
Right.
those are the things that are missing, and the things that can heal people and can give people the freedom to be honest and reflect on that level themselves. You know what I mean? Because a
Yes,
lot
I
of times,
do. For
yeah, a
sure.
lot of times people are just so soft and protective of what they say. It can't get to people like that. It can't really minister or move, someone. It can't move someone. So I definitely thank you for that.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
said, showing up every time, to
Oh,
tell your story. Yeah, and being excited, doing the work to reflect.
yeah.
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 Now
Yeah.
you see what the work
Um,
looks like.
the worker.
I said, now you see
I missed that.
what the work,
Oh man.
yeah, looks like. And even like you're saying, like in 2017,
Yeah.
exactly. In 2017, that's when I started doing work, like right before dad uh started to pass, but it's
Wow.
work. Yeah,
Work.
when you were coming out, I'm doing, self-discovery and all that stuff as well.
Right.
Yeah, but it's work. It's no joke. It's
Man.
not anything that you can just I'm delivered and move on,
Oh yeah.
because if you don't get it, you're
No.
just gonna move and get the same relationship, do some same stuff, and not have a purpose. You understand? And have an understanding of who you were and who you need to be and how you need to go about being that new person.
Exactly. And that's what God is still doing to me. He gave me that instant deliverance of
Yeah,
that lifestyle, but He's
yeah,
continuing to work in my life on a
right.
daily.
Yeah,
So that is what where my growth is coming from also. And like, I thank God for that because yeah, it's a daily thing that He's doing in my life, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I thank Him. I thank Him.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So, and thank you for this outlet of UTT.
that was
Yes,
that was God
I
too.
call it UTT.
Untrending truth. Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Oh gosh.
it's definitely a
Oh man.
platform, but it was nothing that it definitely was deposited in me, and it was timing.
Oh,
Yeah, it was,
oh yes.
ordained for sure. So nothing
I s-
that
yeah. I
I, in
saw it.
the name of the platform or everything was nothing that we could have made up or paid each other to,
And there she go.
huh?
I didn't hear any of that.
Oh, they did. No, I was just saying.
Boom.
Sorry about that. No, I was just
Yeah,
saying
you
stuff.
guys got it. That's all that matters. If y'all got it.
No, they couldn't have paid us like the way everything happened. We couldn't have paid each other or made it up. It just came together, how it should have and how it's supposed to when it's,
Oh no.
yeah,
That's yeah. That's how God does the stuff behind the scenes that we don't understand. Because, like I said, I knew if I could mention, I knew that God was showed me that He was going to help me get my testimony out.
yeah,
And I was like, God, I don't know how you going to do it, but
yeah,
He was orchestrating it.
yeah,
So this
exactly.
is one of His tools.
Yeah. And that's
God,
how
thank Him
God
for
works.
that.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you don't believe in God or if you don't even understand it, then what we may sound like is just some mystical or, crazy or whatever stuff. But
Yeah.
this is what we believe in.
Right.
And we do believe it. So
Yes.
that's just it. Either way it goes,
Mhm.
let's wrap it up. We will get together. We'll come together for 7. And like I said, thank you so much. I see you cutting out. You probably can't hear me, but it's okay. But thank you again. I know it's okay because I've watched shows where it's a subject that I want to hear, and I'll listen to all or watch through all type of pausing and all that stuff. So I know how it is.
Like
You know,
cut, whatever.
just wait for him to come back, or it could be paused and you still hear him talking or whatever. But if it's something you want to hear, that doesn't deter you. That doesn't have to stop you. You know what I mean? The message or however it's coming out is still there. We can't help the connection with you, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm
well, thank you.
thankful.
Yeah, I'm thankful too because there's no real platform or like we've said before, this is like grassroots, this is underground. Obviously, I mean, look at the setup, look at the like it's not that serious. But I'm just saying, like, even the gear,
Yes.
it ain't that
I
serious.
love it.
Yeah, I do too. I don't
I love it. I can be so relaxed.
it's other
Like I
people
said, I
have
can be so relaxed.
other people who have a problem, you know what I'm saying, but I don't, because
Oh no.
it's the purpose behind it, and if we're good with
Man,
it, then that's
I'm
it. Yeah. Yeah, it's all about purpose and
mm,
intent behind it. So we can be dolled up, the background can be dolled up, all a bunch of stuff, but it's the message and the intent behind it that is most important, period. Through this whole series, it's a purpose behind it, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah.
Okie
Yeah.
dokie. Anyway,
God
well, have a
first.
good night. Yeah. And thank you
Yeah.
guys for joining us. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for whoever stayed. Thank you for whoever, comes, subscribes, whatever. We're grateful. If it was just us, then so be it. But overall, we're just grateful for a platform and for the opportunity,
Yes.
one way or another. So we will wrap this up. We will see you guys on 7. I'm so excited. And
Great.
this has been Untrending, a show talking about untrending topics and not so popular subjects being discussed. I always forget about that. Anyway, okay, bye y'all. Bye. Bye.
Bye.